All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Once again, it is my great pleasure as the seminar chair to welcome you to our seminar on cross-border education here in Madrid. I welcome all those who have been to previous seminars for Bologna experts and higher education reform experts. I particularly welcome newcomers. I do hope we have a few newcomers. I'm sure we have a few newcomers today. And I will not keep you long because there are people who have maybe more to say on the issue than I do. But just 2 or 3 organizational remarks. Today we will be staying here and we will be enjoying plenaries. Mostly tomorrow we will then split up into 3 training groups. And the 3 training groups will always stay together in the rooms that have been allocated to them. And 3 speakers will rotate among the training groups, so they will come at appointed time slots and will talk to the training groups and give some input to the training groups. Tonight there will be a dinner. Before that, we will all leave from the university by bus. The buses will take us into town, and then there is a meeting point at the Plaza Cánovas de Castillo for all the people who want to join for dinner, outside the Palace Hotel where the Starbucks coffee shop is. I do not at the moment know exactly at which point in time. I suppose it will be 8:30, as it says in the program, but I have had no communication. Unless you hear anything different during this afternoon, let's meet outside the Palace Hotel in the Plaza Cánovas de Castillo at 8:30. Okay, so that is agreed. And now it is my great pleasure to ask Mr. José María Sanz Martínez, the re-elected rector of University Autónoma de Madrid, to give us his welcome speech. Please.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. First, I had to say welcome to the Universidad Autónoma de Madrid. Welcome to Madrid. I wish to thank all of you for joining us in this seminar for Bologna and higher education reform experts, and for coming to Madrid, some of you from far away. Our university is one of the leading international research and innovation institutions in Spain, open to this kind of initiatives and is eager to participate in leading projects such as the one we are opening today. I hope that during these days you will enjoy the discussions, but maybe, and I hope you will do that, you find out time to also take advantage of being around Bologna experts, and I am sure it will be an opportunity to meet old friends and to make new ones. Thus, it is a pleasure for us to host this seminar, for which on this occasion we will discuss and explore the challenges of cross-border education as a development of internationalization. I am really pleased to see that so many participants from so many countries are visiting us. Some of you may like to know something about our university, so I will briefly give some figures, some trivial and relevant data about the Universidad Autónoma de Madrid. Even probably I know that you have been informed on the seminar site. We are a state university founded in 1968, so we can say we are a young institution and young university which has been developed with the Spanish democracy settlement. We have approximately 27,000 students, bachelor and postgraduate, and we usually ranks as one of the top 3 universities in Spain in both national and international rankings because of our excellence in research and teaching, but also because of our strong social commitment and active participation and involvement in the society. Universidad Autónoma de Madrid has 7 faculties. We are a generalistic university, as well as an engineering school for computer science and telecommunications. We offer a wide range of studies in scientific and technical fields, as well as in social science and humanities. We have 2 different campuses. The one we are hosting this seminar, this Canto Blanco campus, where we are right now, and there is another one for the medicine school, which is in the north side of Madrid. Some main figures: we offer about 50 bachelor's degrees, 3 double degrees, 70 master's degrees, 45 PhD studies. The academic staff is around 2,500. The administration staff is about 1,000 people, and we share also the campus with some research, with the National Research Council. We have some joint programs for research, and some of the institutes, like the one you are right now, where you are right now, is one of these joint ventures with the National Research Council. I hope you enjoy your stay in Madrid. Probably you know the city has an extremely rich heritage and cultural life, and probably you know that Madrid has also a well-known nightlife. Hope you enjoy that, and you will enjoy in the next days. I hope the social program within the limits of the seminar's tight schedule will allow you to get and have at least some hint of what Madrid can offer to visitors. Welcome to Madrid, welcome to the Universidad Autónoma. I wish you a successful and fruitful conference. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rector Sanz, for your warm words of welcome. As the conference chair, I would ask the participants not to indulge too much in Madrid nightlife, because we have some work to do over the next 3 days. Our next speaker will be Frank Petrikowski from the European Commission, who will give his introduction right now.
Good day, everybody, and thank you, Rector, for having us here. It's pretty huge. I mean, I think it's the biggest so far I had in a Bologna seminar, this room. Impressive. Thank you very much. And one good news for the Universidad Autónoma de Madrid is that this seminar has most participants ever. Now, there can be 2 reasons for that. It's because of Madrid, or it's because it's the last seminar in the cycle, in the program cycle, because it's the last chance for the people to meet in this cycle of the program. So, I mean, I do not want to discriminate Vilnius, Budapest, and all the other capitals in Europe, but it seems Madrid has a little something that people decide, well, yeah, it's the last, and we go to Madrid. So, thanks for having us here, and it's a pleasure to work in this university. Thanks. I always saw my role in keeping you updated on the latest news, what happened in the Bologna follow-up group, which just met mid-March actually, in Dublin. And only a few headlines for you, because I told you in the last seminar kind of what working structures were decided on for the next 3 years in the Bologna context. And finally, the BFUG adopted and agreed the work plan from 2012 to 2015, which is already now almost midterm. But now we have agreed a work plan. And the working structures, which is the reporting working group, the structural working group, the working group on the social dimension and lifelong learning, and the working group on mobility and internationalization, all agreed or have agreed terms of references now with clear indications of what they need to work on and what they should come up with at the end of their work, which is then 2015 at the ministerial conference in Yerevan. Besides that, there was a general agreement of the Bologna follow-up group on the proceedings of all other sub-ad hoc working structures in the Bologna process, namely the Pathfinder group on automatic recognition of comparable academic degrees, on the working group that is working on the revision of the ECTS users guide, on the working group on the revision of the European standards and guidelines of quality assurance, and other subgroups. Maybe the novelty for the Bologna context was the agreement on the peer learning and peer review initiative, which was proposed by the Bucharest communique, which means that now we will introduce this instrument of peer learning and peer review in the Bologna context, demand-based or demand-driven. Countries that would like to have advice, counseling on specific issues within the Bologna context on maybe problems or challenges in implementation can organize such a peer learning, and experts in the field from all over 47 participating countries will then be invited to help this country in soundly and coherently implementing the challenges or the problems they are having in their country. Practically speaking, it will be discussed now in the working groups, the structure working group, the social dimension working group, and the mobility working group, and countries need to identify themes, subjects that they would like to tackle, and then in the next meeting of the BFUG in Vilnius, the BFUG will then endorse this list and a work plan consisting of these countries who would like to have assistance and share practices. Funding, the most important question, I believe, sometimes. The funding will be done via the new education program on European level. And of course, we need to talk back to the committee that will be dealing with the new program and agree on a work program for that. And as I said, it will be done on requests by the countries inside the Bologna process, so it's like an open process, and we will see how many countries really want to organize something. I'm very interested to see these results. So much maybe to the BFUG meeting in Dublin. The next one will be in Vilnius, beginning of November, and before there will be the BFUG board meeting end of September in Georgia, if I'm correct. Maybe just a few words to our subject of the conference. When I used to study, joint degrees, joint programs were exotic. They hardly existed, at least not in my country, and I had to organize myself a joint program because I then left Germany for some time to study somewhere else, but it was not like a rule in the higher education sector. And when I look at the last 20 years, what happened in joint, double degrees, in really strong institutional cooperation between countries, regions, I must say it's really a kind of revolution that happened there. It could be, to my mind, a little bit quicker still, but I believe there are a lot of obstacles for doing it, and that's the reason why it doesn't happen so quickly. But I believe this is really necessary for the future of Europe, for the European higher education area. And I think we collected some good practices in this conference that will be shown the next 2.5 days. And we hope, of course, that you as multipliers in the respective higher education systems can spread the word. And please, spread. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Frank, for your introduction. The next two introductions, in fact, will be from the executive agency. Our first speaker will be María Luisa García Mínguez. She works for the Erasmus and Jean Monnet programs and will give us her introduction right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you very much. My first intention was to open this conference in Spanish, but I will retain myself, even if I am in my country, and wait a little bit until the end for saying something in Spanish. So, dear rectors, dear participants, dear Bologna experts, Tempus experts, I know that even students are here today or this afternoon will join us. So it is really my pleasure to be here for opening this conference, because I know that there is a remarkable number of experts in higher education in Europe and outside, coming from different countries and for working together 2.5 days here. It is also a double pleasure to be involved in this conference as a representative of the executive agency because of the topic, cross-border education. This topic is really very much in line with some of the activities that we are dealing with in the executive agency. Indeed, for several years, and I'm talking about the whole period of the lifelong learning program from 2007 till this year, we have co-funded and managed an important number of cooperation projects under the Erasmus program, focusing on those aspects that learning mobility refers to. I'm talking about, for example, recognition, of course, accreditation, transfer of learning outcomes, models of mobility as physical, virtual, blended, etc. For years, one of the priorities is expressed in a call for proposals has been the design of curricula in different study domains, leading to a recognized double or joint degree. The promotion of quality and innovation in curriculum design, together with full recognition of periods of study undertaken abroad, are important features of this activity. And I saw in your readers that the organizers have prepared that one of our projects is inside the Joint Man project. So for more than 7 years, if I can say, 200 study programs have been financed by EU funds. Some of them have been internationalized by putting in place Masters of Excellence open to the world, thanks to the Erasmus Mundus framework. Others have become a joint program, fully recognized by national authorities and delivered by 3 or more EU or non-EU higher education institutions. And this is a reality. Another relevant priority of the Erasmus cooperation programs refers to how to remove obstacles to mobility in higher education and how to develop strategies with a view to boosting learning mobility, for example, by promoting mobility windows in the curricula or by encouraging the commitment of multipliers to promote mobility. We have managed centralized projects under the Lifelong Learning Program, more than 3,000 to date, and yet more to come in 2013, because the call of proposal is still open. And therefore, we are, I think, well placed to identify interesting projects with very useful activities and outputs for policy. Indeed, part of our role is to bring people together in order to exchange, discuss, and learn from each other. In order to facilitate the dissemination of results of the project that we co-finance, we organize regularly cluster meetings. One of them was exclusively dedicated to the strategies for learning mobility in Europe, and I would like to invite you to go to our webpage and visit the conclusions. Let me turn now to the national teams of Bologna experts, whose activities are being managed and followed by the executive agency in close cooperation with the European Commission. Part of the audience today are representing these national teams and know very well that a wide spectrum of activities has taken place on those domains which are in the core of the Bologna process. In the brochure that we have recently published for the period 2008-2013, the achievements of each national team is presented. I have to say that it is a very impressive list of activities covering areas that tackle, among other things, the challenges of the mobility in higher education, such as the recognition of study, the quality assurance of the use of transparency tools. I would like to congratulate the national teams of Bologna experts involved and the national agencies who coordinate this project with really dedication. This is a fantastic work made possible by a group of experts working at ground level and daily contributing to move forward the reforms in their countries. On the other hand, I am convinced that their continuous collaboration with colleagues from other countries, including the Tempus higher education reform expert, is contributing to the growth of an international community of experts that are playing a crucial role to further disseminate the raison d'être of the Bologna process. Let me say one word about one of the tasks that the experts have accomplished during 2012 and have to accomplish again during the coming months. It refers to their important counseling role to institutions interested in holding an ECTS or DS label. They are working in close cooperation with their national agencies in order to ensure that the best possible advice is given to all applicants throughout Europe. The current call, as you know, is still open till the 1st of October by submitting application by higher education institutions. In this respect, we are pleased to observe that the current label holders are promoting best practice that can be used by all other institutions around Europe. Efforts like this are making teaching and learning more transparent and helping students to obtain recognitions for their studies and qualifications in-house and abroad. To conclude, I would like to say thank you to the university, to the Universidad Autónoma for welcoming us, as well as, of course, the organizers, the UNICA, the Brussels Education Services, for making this event possible. And I would like to say in Spanish, disfruten de Madrid. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Maria Luisa. And the last speaker in the opening plenary will be Jacques Kemp, who is responsible for Tempus and bilateral cooperation with industrial countries within the executive agency. Jacques, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Dear Rector, dear participants, this is indeed the last planned meeting of a very long series of international events mixing the so-called Bologna experts together with the higher education reform experts of the Tempus partner countries, the so-called HEREs, in the framework of the current Tempus 4 program. Together with the national Tempus offices in the partner countries and the authorities of the Tempus partner countries, the EU established HERE teams in order to support the modernization of the higher education sectors in new countries. On the one hand, the EU, the Commission, offers opportunities for training, space for debates, exchange of know-how, best practices, benchmark, food for thought, technical assistance, networking opportunities. And on the other hand, the EU is expecting from the HEREs, when back in their home country, to inform, to train their colleagues about the learning outcome, to support, to guide the decision makers, to disseminate learning outcome to all stakeholders in the field of higher education and beyond through various activities. During this 2010-2013 period, the Commission offered to the attention of the Tempus HEREs 8 international conferences, such as this one, about recognition, social dimension of higher education, learning mobility, research-based education, curriculum reform. At each event, we have had the participation and the active involvement of keynote speakers, experts, many opportunities for networking through buddy system, open space system, poster session, workshops, virtual community website. The Tempus program also proposed to your attention regional seminars about the Bologna process, thematic events much more focused on the management and government issues, in order also to modernize higher education institution and higher education sector. We have also proposed study visits. It means meeting on the spot at EU universities with all local actors, rectors, academics, administrative staff, students' representatives, to learn about the university practices, for instance, to link the university with the business world, or how to provide services to students. It provides unique opportunity to discover new areas. The next and last thematic seminar that we have programmed, that we have planned, will take place in Central Asia, in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, next autumn, and it will deal about autonomy of university and diversification of funding. The last study visit that we will organize will take place in the university in Berlin in May to discuss about the preparation of curricula in English in order to attract foreign students and promote mobility. Both regional and thematic events and study visits as well have been organized in close coordination with the national Tempus offices and with the intensive and efficient support of UNICA and Brussels Education Services, and I would like again to thank them for their support, as well as I would like to thank my own colleague, my own team for its support. For those specific events, we have selected teams beyond the Bologna process, but teams that are also extremely important for the modernization of higher education, for the adaptation of higher education in the modern world, and those topics were related to governance and management issues. In addition, we also managed to offer the assistance of EU experts who have been available for the HERE teams and other higher education stakeholders in the Tempus countries for around 50 technical assistance missions to bring and exchange expertise and advice to the attention of the partner countries. The counterpart of all those activities of this investment, or the results, is what the HERE teams undertook, implemented, achieved back home. Among others, peer-to-peer training through presentation, information, events, workshops, seminars, support to education authorities acting as intermediaries between the academic world and the national authorities, and of course, outreach activities, communication, dissemination activities to the attention of the general public with a lot of up-to-date information about higher education in the EU. We believe at the Executive Agency, at the Commission, that the HERE teams has been a very fruitful experience, an efficient instrument, that it enables a dialogue and exchange of practices between HERES, but also between the HERES and the experts in the EU member states. HERES, as I said, acted as multipliers, ambassadors amongst academic stakeholders. There have been also intermediaries between the academic stakeholders and the national authorities. They used to draft recommendations for reform and disseminate best practices. On the top of that, we have really the feeling now that they are part of a wider international community of experts. What's next? What we can provide, what we can offer for the future? We are now thinking, discussing, brainstorming about our experience, about the learning of the past, and trying to propose some recommendations for the future. And it already started this morning. We had a meeting with the HERES in order to review the achievement of the past and to assess the results and to draft some guidelines, some recommendations for the future. Of course, it also depends, first of all, on the adoption by the European Parliament and the Council of the Commission a proposal to establish the next coming Erasmus for All program. It will also depend on the budget that will be available. But definitely, our wish is to go ahead with the HERES instrument and to propose further activities, opportunities and learning for modernizing higher education sector in our partner countries. As you know, the HERE initiative is an accompanying measure of the Tempus program. The current fourth phase of the Tempus program is ending. We have published, end of last year, the sixth and last call for proposals with a deadline end of last month, last March. We have around 150 million euro available, which is actually a very substantial and increased budget. And for your information, after the deadline has been reached, we have received 937 applications, which is actually also a very substantial and increased number. We are now processing with the selection and assessment process of those applications and taking into account the budget available and the average size of the project, we expect to be in a position to select around 180 projects. About the proposed Erasmus for All program for the period 2014-2020 and to the attention of the third countries, the Commission proposal has three pillars. A learning mobility component for staff, students and youth, and you will find here the current Erasmus program that will be actually extended to the whole world, meaning among others that the so-called Tempus partner countries will also be part of what is currently called Erasmus. A second component, which is a cooperation component, and here we will have a measure for capacity building and international cooperation, and this is actually the successor of the current Tempus program. It will follow exactly the same architecture with joint project and structural measures, and also it will be extended to Africa and the Caribbean, to Latin America and to Asia. So it might be that we have next conference in Phuket in the months to come. If the HERES can dream it, so that the Commission might do it maybe. And then the third pillar, a policy reform component, and it is in this framework that we shall envisage an action plan for the HERES. Again, this is to be discussed, this is to be decided based on the adoption first of the Commission proposal by the Council and the Parliament, taking into account the available budget and taking into account the EU priorities and the recommendation that we define. That being said, I would like also to remind and to insist on the fact that the Commission proposed to substantially increase the level not of the expenses but of the investment in education, in higher education, since modernizing, promoting education, educating people will support growth, will support jobs, will help the economy, and will develop human beings. It provides better trained, educated people who will definitely play a major role in modernizing societies for further innovation and for more well-being. The first component, I'm concluding, the first component of the proposed Erasmus for All program is about mobility. So our team today is cross-border education is definitely in line and relevant with the Commission vision and the Commission agenda. We have once more an excellent program, very experienced speakers, and an impressive list of participants. Frank mentioned that it is close to 200 people. I hope that after this 2.5-day seminar, the expertise gained today, the exchange of experience, the new ideas, the networking will promote further cooperation, initiatives and improvement. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for your participation, and I wish you a very fruitful event. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Jacques. Now, just give me 1 minute to say thank you very much in person to the panel, and then we will continue with the first keynote. Okay, so thank you very much.